Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gordon. I'm the consulting SC for Southeast Asia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau. So today's topic of the day for me will be connect and protect with Aruba, zero trust, and SASE. So these are the few words that comes to mind when we talk about security nowadays. So how are we going to apply this zero trust and SASE framework into your daily industrial life? Let's us go in depth into it. Fortress mentality. How everybody wish to have that right now. But it's a thing of a past. Why? In the past, a lot of devices such as BYOD or staff equipment are always being taken care by the IT management. But as we move along these days, this trusted zone has expanded. Why? Because we have other people like visitors, contractors coming into your network with their devices, whether it's wired or wireless. Do we trust them or do we put them in the untrusted zone? Just like a fortress, putting a firewall for the trusted zone and trust everything that is inside the network doesn't work anymore. Remember, because of our mobility equipments, our personal BYOD, our staff equipment nowadays can be brought home. And why did I say that? Because of the new challenges that we are facing today. What kind of challenges are we facing? Work from anywhere and everywhere, a hybrid workplace, the BYODs. We know that with COVID 19, we have accelerated this trend. I believe a lot of us, or most of us, are working from home, just like me. Once a while, I go back to the office, but 95% of my time is sitting in front of my PC at home. The traditional security parameter is no longer there. How are you going to protect my client that is connected when I'm at home? Next thing that we need to look at is the digital transformation, the proliferation of IoT devices, regardless whether you like it or not, is already there. With about 5.1 million, 51 billion devices, not 5.1, I beg pardon, it's 51 billion devices from IDC perspective, saying that these 51 billion IoT devices is going to be connected to the internet by 2023. It's going to drive data at the edge. When I say driving data at the edge, what do I mean? When I mean that is because everybody tries to connect at the edge and they will be sending information. Whether you are at home, you are in the campus, you're in the HQ, you are always at the edge where you have sending all the data, not just into your HQ data network, but also to the cloud. And that's when application continues to migrate to the cloud. We see things like Amazon, Google, Microsoft that comes up with different kind of application. Just a simple application like Office 365. We are bringing our office from the cloud or into the cloud as well. So we have cloud delivery right now. So what about the security? Of course, we must also have cloud delivery security to protect against any sort of attack from cloud application. That's why where our SASE starts to come in, the SASE framework. We also have the zero trust networking framework, whereby working from home or even at a remote office must still make sure that you are dynamically segmented. What do I mean by dynamic segmented? Regardless of who you are, what device you bring in, we must be able to know what is going on and give you the least privilege network access to the network. And that's where we are driving the edge to cloud security. From then on, I'm going to tell you how the Aruba approach is coming along. Using our unified approach, we are talking about Aruba ESP. Our ESP is also what we call the Edge Secure Platform. So let's take a look. What is ESP? We have three factors in ESP. First thing, we talk about connect. Using our unified infrastructure, the ability to control wireless, wired, SD-WAN, 5G, even IoT in a single platform, what we call Aruba Central. Regardless of the location where you are, whether you are remotely at home, again, branch office, in the cloud, campus data center, or even sitting at a cafe. Protect. Having visibility knowing the continuous threat that's coming along. How are we going to prevent that from coming into the network? Network policy, unified threat management. These are the things that what we call edge to cloud security that I'm going to touch on later on. Last but not least, for ESP, Aruba ESP, we have the analyze and act. That is where we are able to start onboard devices, provision devices. So these are common thing, and orchestration. These are very common thing. But the key here is using machine learning. We are able to provide analytics to give you AI ops, what we call AI ops, meaning machine learning capability to optimize your network according to the best practice in the world. And we are able to do location tracking plus management on this platform as well. So without further ado, I'm going to go into point number 2, the protect edge to cloud security. So for us, what is the zero trust best practice to the network? First and foremost, we are looking at visibility. With visibility, we are looking at something called ClearPass policy or ClearPass device insight to give you device profiling and visibility of what actually they are doing on the network. Next, we talk about AAA, authentication, authorization, and access control. Not accounting, but to Aruba, it's called access control. Using our policy manager, ClearPass Policy Manager, we are able to do authentication and posture checking. ClearPass Policy Manager also does the role-based access control based on context that we actually gotten from the devices, from third-party information, from the Active Directory, from SQL database, etc. We then continuously monitor the network based on our threat and defense with our 360 secure exchange with our security partners, not to mention our SASE partners as well. So we have partners that does all this and then feeding information back to our system, and whereby when there is something goes wrong, we are able to fish them out and remove their access on the network regardless of where you are. Last but not least, Aruba will then take enforcement when the problem arises. Say, for example, you have gotten an iPad with a malware. You start to come into the network. What your traditional firewall or your UTM will do is to block it from outside and internal. But the firewall is doing what it does. From then on, Aruba can take charge. Using our ClearPass policy manager, we take enforcement to remove this device from the network. Right now, no longer it can access the network, but it will be quarantined so that IT can take action on them, because we can also take more action by sending an email to IT or even setting up a ServiceNow ticket for IT security team to take note of it. And this is a continuous loop that we have. So it's a continuous closed loop security framework that we are looking at. So, but this security framework, what are we based on? We're based on one simple thing called NIST. So how can we compare to NIST? We saw that we can identify who is connecting to the network, what do you bring into the network. We authenticate all the users regardless whether who you are, what kind of device. Even if it's just a MAC authentication, we can profile it and know and give it a different role accordingly. All devices and users should be intelligently segmented, meaning regardless of who you are, what switch port you plug in, it should be given the correct role according. And these are not static. It should be dynamically segmented. Third, fourth, we are going through security check, ongoing security check, so that this device fit the security policy of your corporate world, rather than actually having some policy that you fail and you are still connected to the network, like the malware that I mentioned earlier on. And this fit in nicely to the NIST framework, NIST cybersecurity framework, where they talk about identity, they talk about protect, and they talk about detection. So you can go into the NIST cybersecurity framework with the link below over here to read a little bit more. And this is what is being used by a lot of financial security industry, financial service industry. So we talk about number one, identify. So there's this saying I like to always tell people: you can't secure what you can't see, right? It's right, because I don't know who's the enemy. How can I secure it? With that, we actually introduce something along the line of how to know your network by using ClearPass Device Insight. This gives you an advanced visibility and profiling mechanism in your network. Using machine learning, I know what exactly is this device doing. Is this device and that device the same kind of device? I can put them together. I do traffic analytic on the device immediately when the device is connected to the network. Where exactly is this device going? Example, a CCTV connected to a trying to access your Active Directory. Something goes wrong. CCTV shouldn't do that. And once we learn that, we can do some sort of remediation to remove the CCTV from the network and do an investigation first. It might be a malware. It might be even a ransomware. Crowdsourcing. If we were to using the power of crowdsourcing, we share information with all the users using this platform. If today you have a new device connected to the platform and we can identify it, say for example, is a PCI compliance card reader for your credit card reader, and it's state of the art, it's new, nobody knows it, it's just new out of the oven, and you're using it immediately when you provision on ClearPass Device Insight. I am able to share this information to the rest of the users on the platform, saving them time and effort to actually realize what exactly this is. We also give you security score. In the event, if you have a threat, we will tell you that your security score is too high. You might need to take action on that. This is built for the cloud. No longer you need to have massive data center kind of servers sitting in your network to do machine learning. We have this all built into the cloud where you just need to have a simple collector or even an AP to get this information. We provide auditable reports. People like this because of ISO, because of auditors that comes in yearly and audit you on who and what are the devices you have on your network. So with that, we can actually know, using this device, we can actually know and generate a report based on this time of the year. Right now, what are the devices connected to the network? And the best part is it integrates with the ClearPass Policy Manager to do enforcement. Let me go in and take a closer look at the traffic analytic portion of this product. So looking at CPDI, once I go into one of the devices, you can see that immediately I know that this is a Apple TV with the name there, with a tag there, and it is connected to a Homeland network. And yep, okay, let me just take a look. If I go down further, of course, I know it's what kind of authentication is doing, what kind of enforcement is doing. At the same time, I also know what are the network activity for this device. Like I mentioned earlier on, a CCTV going to Active Directory, or even a printer going to a Netflix. Something is very wrong. You probably have to bring this device out of the network immediately and take a closer look and see whether they are really infected with certain virus or malware. So having said that, this is something that we can do out of the box easily without of any sort of work done, just by the collector with flow coming in. We will know every single thing. So of course from there we know the device, we have visibility. Next we go to point number 2, authenticate. When we talk about authentication, we talk about devices that you are given by corporate. We talk about devices that are brought in from home. Same devices, same OS, same patch, same kind of setup, but we can still differentiate them. How do we do that? Even using the same username, you are using the same Active Directory coming to the network. Of course, it looks the same. Further to that, you are coming into the same location using the same time, because I log into the both device at the same date and time, running the same OS. Excuse me. But once you try to authenticate to the network, I can see on the cert. I can check with third party. I can check whether there is a posture from the device you are coming in. So with that notion, I know that SOE, standard operating equipment, does have all these corporate certificate, can be like Microsoft Intune or your AirWatch, or you already have installed a NAC, like something like OnGuard to actually check your health state. But over here, the other side, you have a BYOD that have similar specification. But the key difference is you do not have all this, and you do not have BYO. You are using a BYOD cert. And from there, I can actually identify that even you are Bart Simpson, you are given a personal role rather than having access to the network. So how do we do that? We do that easily by defining the role policy with our policy manager. ClearPass policy manager takes in information or radius from various devices, printer, phone, Apple TV, you name it, we have it, CCTV, connected to various different kind of vendor. We are vendor agnostic. So today you might think, do I need to use Aruba to achieve this? Not really, because you can use the vendors over here. But of course, I would like you to use Aruba. Then we talk about profiling. We mentioned earlier on, we know what exactly you bring in. Although you tell me that this is Bart Simpson bring a Windows device, but at the end of the day, I profile that this is a Linux. We will tell you that this is actually a Linux system, not a Windows. Next, we take in information, like I mentioned, Microsoft Intune. We can take in from Zingbox, OTA, CrowdStrike, whatever, from external system, information, context from them. And then from there, I give you a policy workflow based on all this information context. I then derive a role. And this role will give you the least privilege on the network. This is especially true if you want to secure your network end to end from whether you are at the branch office, banking branch office, or you are at the banking HQ. This role will follow you regardless of where you are, even you are remotely at home. Personal device onboarding for staff. We are able to do that with can be IT managed BYOD or even BYOD by self-managed. So we give you ultimate policy for self-service personal devices by pushing down certificates. Network policy, no longer we will need to use username and password, but we use just a one-time provisioning. The key thing is we are able to remove the fact that the 30 days, 60 days, 90 days password expiry on your Windows, because these devices are not governed by SOE or Active Directory. When the password wants to be changed, this device doesn't know. They will keep on using your own password and causing it to lock up. Next, we also have visibility and control of what is connected to your network and what did you bring into the network. How many devices do you bring into the network? This time, if I were to say that I do not trust any Android, the moment an Android device comes into the network, I will block them from onboarding. Or even if you have onboarded, I can remove their access immediately. Next, visitor and contractors. They can use the built-in captive portal from Aruba, which is 100% customizable, or we can work with third party like Sign, Envoy, Pastet, etc. We are able to consistently give the rights of this visitor regardless of where you are, which branch you are. If you are from HQ, you want to go back to the branch office. Say, for example, maybe in Manila, you go to Makati. You have a Makati branch office. So when you are at the Makati branch office for this visitor, we are able to give you the same access because we in the same cluster, I know who you are already, what connectivity option you have, and I do not need you to re-authenticate again. I don't have to let you fill in everything again. You can just go right in, open up your laptop, and start working as a visitor or contractor. We reduce IT, receptionist, and even paperwork from there. Policy is determined by the length of connection and access privilege. I can actually give different policy based on who you are. Say, for example, you are a VIP to the bank. I will give you a longer period of time. If let's say you are just a contractor to the bank, you are here for half a day, I will give you a half a day access, and that's it. Next, we talk about IoT devices coming into the network. We actually provide this very special thing called MPSK, multi-PSK, allowing per device passphrase. So using a single SSID, now I do not need multiple SSID to get the different device connected. Every one device can have a unique pre-shared key. In the event if there is a leak of that pre-shared key, anybody uses the pre-shared key to try to connect will never get connected because it's governed by ClearPass. We also give you a self-service portal thereon to actually self-service to get connected, maybe adding your game console, or maybe even adding your so-called credit card device for the branch. And I know who exactly sponsored the device to be on the network. In the event if there is a outage caused by that device, I will know who to look for, because all these are record that's auditable, which is very crucial in the FSI industry. Coming to the third point, we are looking at segment. How are we going to dynamically segment the network? Firstly, of course, we just need three components here. It's 100% overlay. I do not need to use everything Aruba, but only three part of Aruba is needed. First is ClearPass Policy Manager. Second, our policy enforcement firewall sitting inside the gateway. So a gateway is needed, or some people call it the controller in the past. Last, we will need our edge to connect your device. Edge like a switch, a Aruba switch, a Aruba AP to connect to the endpoint client. So regardless of the underlay that you are having today, it can be from my competitor. It doesn't matter, because our dynamic segmentation run on any network that you have today. We talked about visibility. Once you connect, we give you a role, and this role will then be passed through the enforcement policy firewall and tunnels to the gateway, from there to the destination that you have. And this is also so for the rest of the device, like BYOD, IoT, and guest devices. And this gateway actually gives you more things, because it's a DPI engine. It has a deep packet inspection of what exactly is the application that you're running, which website you are going to. For example, if an IoT devices is trying to go to some fancy unknown website, we will actually prompt out that there is actually a threat coming along from this client as well. So these are all the key things that we have for this policy enforcement firewall. Not just a layer 7 firewall, per device firewall, but it has a web CC. It also do application awareness. So you can see every single device have a firewall facing network engine behind them, in front of them. No longer I will hit your actual firewall. I will be serving as your front end firewall. Even for IoT devices that cannot install a personal enforcement firewall like a laptop, I can have a IoT facing the policy enforcement firewall in my gateway right away. And we even extend this zero trust dynamic segmentation to the WAN. In the past, Silver Peak, we have just onboarded Silver Peak not long ago, probably about less than a year. We call it the Edge Connect. It does have a very powerful policy engine that knows what application you are running. But that is not enough, because we feel that today, if you have a contractor, an IT admin that runs on Zoom, for example, everyone will be given the same business intent overlay. That's an overlay strategy from Silver Peak or our Edge Connect. So we will use that policy for everybody that is using Zoom to go towards a higher quality of service internet link. But if I want to differentiate, there's no way. So of course, with Aruba, we extend the dynamic segmentation over here by introducing context, role, device type, username, security policy. Now, from the role, if I know that you are from IT versus you are from contractor, I can, even you're using Zoom, I can differentiate different policy from there. So from the IT, I can go to what's a higher bandwidth internet link. For contractor, maybe I go to a slower internet link. That can be done easily with our contextual sharing with Silver Peak. We, of course, we go on to point number 4, detect. With detection, we keep on continuously checking the health state of the device using our OnGuard solution. OnGuard is used by a lot of government, and it's also being used by a lot of banks. Why? Because we are able to have both agent, agentless, undissolvable for compliance of your corporate policy. At the same time, we are able to run script on endpoint for deeper analysis or or remediation if you want to. So with green, we know that you're healthy, your OS is running. In this case, your antivirus is running, your firewall is good. Unhealthy, you may have a USB storage connector. I want to block you. Unsupported firewall, maybe I will just want a corporate supported firewall, but you brought in some firewall out there in the market that's a freeware we don't allow, and your antivirus is out of date. I will remove you, and unhealthy, you will remove out of the network. Or unknown, you used to have on-guard agent, but because of certain stuff that you're doing, you remove on-guard. Maybe because of you want to install software and you prompt that on-guard is taking up too much space, you remove it. The next time you come on board to the network, you will not get connected until you reinstall on-guard. We also do continuous monitoring with, of course, the detection piece with our third-party vendors such as McAfee, Checkpoint, Palo Alto, Microsoft, Mobile Iron, CrowdStrike, Tenable. Over 160 of them working hand in hand with Aruba. We all know that nobody have all the solution in the market, but we make it easy as an orchestrator to work with all these third party. There are tech notes out there that I can share with you so that you can actually do your own research as well. Not to mention, we have our own device insight traffic analytic engine on our ClearPass device insight that I mentioned earlier on. Also, we do also have our intrusion detection on our Aruba gateway as well. So having said that, we can actually know what are the threats coming in on the network, whether they are from maybe some Russian website or whether is it coming from some African site. We all know where are the threats coming from, what are the IPs and what is the source, what are the destination they are hitting and stuff like that. We have all this threat intelligence coming into the network as well. Not to mention this intrusion detection IDIPS engine can sit on our Silver Peak network appliance as well, what we call the Edge Connect appliance. So it gives us an end-to-end UTM capability on our Edge Connect and our central gateway platform. Next, we come to the part where it's the most sexy portion. Actually, not sexy, but sassy. Secure Access Service Edge. So what is Secure Access Service Edge? People will know that, okay, Gordon, this is something that we know day in, day out. But to break it into words, secure access, meaning you must securely access the network and the service is at the edge. So when the service is at the edge, we must use services like security service at the edge and not at the HQ. So how do we go about doing that? So with Gartner, we know that SASE is the emerging offering to combine comprehensive WAN capabilities with comprehensive network security functions such as a secure web gateway, a CASB, firewall as a service, etc. to support dynamic secure access needed for digital enterprise. That's from Gartner. And of course, Aruba already have your advanced SD-WAN capability through our Edge Connect. So with the addition of cloud delivery security, I'm able to actually provide a SASE network at your own pace, meaning you can select any SASE vendors that you want to work with our SD-WAN solution. And of course, you mentioned, Gordon, to work with a SASE vendor, it might be very difficult. We make it simple because cloud security with SD-WAN is easy with automation from Aruba. Why? Because we give you the capability now to orchestrate all this with a single button away. And this can be deployed easily across 100, 1,000, 10,000 locations easily. Let us take a look at how it works. We are able to use user customizable policy for breakout traffic to third party by just a click away. So over here, the orchestrator that's provided by Aruba will then tell us which are the vendors I want to work with. I select, I put in my current necessary code, just a simple drag and drop. And then all this automatic IPsec tunnel creation to whether you are using CloudGuard from Checkpoint, you are using Zscaler or even Netscope, will be built automatically to the nearest site. And when there is a traffic redirection or re-establishment of the tunnel, it is all done automatically. And all the information are also automatically backed up. So with 0 minutes to 1 minute, you have 1,000. And maybe 5 minutes, you have 5,000 locations up and running with tunnels. In the past, when we do this, we need to go to every single site to establish a tunnel one by one. Now there's no need to. We give you the freedom of choice and the automation of getting devices onto the network easily with SASE vendors. Of course, so where can Aruba Zero Trust and SASE framework assist you? We assist you by giving you visibility, knowing what's on the network. We do authentication control. Only approved devices with the user correct credential can connect to the network. We also have a centralized policy enforcement pushing down from ClearPass. No longer you will need to actually go to every single switch, every single gateway to create a policy. Everything can be pushed down centrally from ClearPass. We have a unified infrastructure, same policy across wired, wireless, and even SD-WAN across the WAN. Last but not least, secure access service edge. We also allow automation for you to shift to any cloud delivery platform that you wish at your own time. Maybe today I want to have some of this application going to Netscope. Another day, I want to have some application going to Zscaler. No issue. It's all easily automated with our automation platform on our Aruba SD-WAN gateway. And with that, I end my session. Thank you very much and have a good day.